us a little bit about the character that you play in the film.
My character is Lincoln. He's a kid that gets bullied in high school. He's very dark. He has black hair, listens to death metal, smokes cigarettes, loner, sits in the corner by himself. And then he gets, because of that, because he's sort of an outcast, he gets bullied throughout high school. And then one day he has enough, and I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but he stabs the bully in the face with a fork. And pretty badass, yeah. And they send him to a reform school in the desert, and it seems like it's going to be okay, and then the same stuff happens there. He starts getting bullied by the kids in that reform school, and after this skirmish that they get into, pretty much he gets jumped by like 3 of them. He ends up summoning a spirit through his rage and pain and sadness, and her name is Moira Karp, who was a young girl who was also picked on and ended up killing herself because of bullying. And she begins to just rage out on everyone and everything that hurts him when he didn't ask for it. You know, he didn't expect anything like this to happen. And then it just becomes like a bloodbath.
So when you come to casting your characters, is there anything specifically that you do to be able to get the right people?
Yes. I mean, the casting and the audition process was exhausting. So before I even started casting it, I took acting classes. This was my first feature. And before this, I'd mostly done quite visual things, like music videos and things like that. So to get ready for this, I took acting classes. I took workshops where I sort of learned how to work with actors a little bit better. I took scenes from the film and explored them with actors. And then once we got into the audition process, even that was an opportunity to learn what the scenes would be. So even when I would work with somebody, she's probably not going to get the part, but what is this scene about? This is another chance for me to learn. It was so important for me to find actors who understood how seriously we were taking. I think at the beginning I was like, oh, it's a low-budget horror movie. 90% of the people that I try to work with are just going to think it's some schlocky thing. I have to find people that are going to go with me all the way on like really believing in it, right? And you find that in all kinds of different ways. Like in some cases, somebody would come in and do an audition and just be awesome. Like Spencer Breslin, who's in the movie, he came in and he was just funny, weirdo kid, and we were immediately like, yes, you. And then other people, like with Grace Phipps, who's known mostly from Disney films, she was in Teen Beach. I just had a conversation with her about like deeply personal stuff, you know, and we just sort of talk about like things that make you unhappy, things that make you feel awkward, sexual ideas, like anything to sort of make you feel like you can connect immediately on a very deep level and know, well, we can talk about anything. Because the important part of my process when I do a scene is here's something that happened to me that like reminds me of what happened in this scene, so that the actors know that there's something personal at stake. I met Sarah McCormick, who's another girl mostly known for Disney. She's on a TV show called Ant Farm, and she plays Moira Karp, the slasher, and I met her, and she's just this like baby genius. And she started talking to me about like, oh, when I was 8 years old and I first watched Requiem for a Dream, I didn't quite appreciate it, but then when I was 11, I rewatched the entire Aronofsky oeuvre and I was like, she's like this child, like talking about these. She seemed to have like such a special thing that I was like, and we completely revised the character to make sure that it would fit her, like sort of physically and emotionally. And some people I had to call back for auditions over and over again and make sure that they were going to be able to do all of the different aspects.